We've got another person. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight to hear more about the Bendigo Stadium upgrades. My name is Laura and I'm a Senior Communications and Engagement Advisor for Development Victoria, working across the 8 regional sports infrastructure projects which we are delivering in partnership with Sport and Recreation Victoria. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people as the traditional owners of the lands I'm dialing in from today. I would also like to acknowledge the Dja Dja Wurrung as traditional owners of the country on which this project is being delivered, and to recognise their continuing cultural heritage and connection to land and waters. I would like to pay my respects to their elders past and present. And I'm going to start this session by giving you a little bit of a rundown of what we are planning for you this evening. In a second, I'll take you through our engagement guidelines, and I'll then introduce you to our project team. And then they will take you through some of the project details before we open up the floor for a Q&A session. So these are our engagement guidelines, which are all fairly simple for anyone who has dialed into a session like this before. First off, we will be recording this session and the recording will be made available online following the session. The purpose of this session this evening is to share information with you all regarding the Bendigo Stadium upgrades, and we will be hearing more from the project team on this shortly. Once we do get to the Q&A component, you will have a couple of options to ask questions. One will be to raise your hand using the button at the top of your screen, and then we'll unmute your microphone so that you can ask the team a question directly. Alternatively, you can use a Q&A button at the top of your screen to type a question for the team, and I'll let them know when questions are coming through. We've muted everyone's microphones for the moment though, so we will ask you to wait until the end. And when it does come time, I'll give you a few more instructions on how to engage with the Q&A session. We would also like to remind you all to be respectful during this session and to please try to keep your questions on topic for this project specifically. If there's a question that we are unable to answer, we will take this question on notice and we'll issue the response via an FAQ document, which we'll upload to our website and to the Engage Victoria website once the response has been prepared. For further information on this project or to provide feedback on this project, you can visit the Development Victoria website, which will also link you through to the Engage Victoria website, which has the option for you to provide written feedback on the project. Okay, I think we are going to kick off now. So first of all, I'll introduce you to the project team. We've got Amanda Harris, who's the project director for all of our Bendigo-based projects and all of our Geelong-based projects in the Regional Sports Infrastructure Program. We've got Vicky Babbix, who's Senior Project Manager and who works on the Bendigo Stadium project. And we've got Luke Beattie, who's a Senior Project Manager for Sport and Recreation Victoria. And you'll be hearing from all of these people in just a second. First of all, though, I will throw over to Luke.
Thanks a lot for that, Laws, and welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. A great opportunity to gain a better understanding around the project. For those that aren't familiar with the Regional Sports Infrastructure Program, the Allen government announced that in 2024 in the wake of the cancellation of the previous Commonwealth Games to deliver the infrastructure improvements and benefits to those communities across the 6 regions that were identified for events within those spaces, which is a great outcome for those different individual venues and local governments. As part of this, Sport and Recreation Victoria have partnered up with DV, our delivery agent, and very well skilled and versed in delivering significant sporting infrastructure across the state on a number of projects. This one obviously being one of those projects in Bendigo, as well as the Bendigo Showgrounds project as well. And then we have also one project being delivered by the City of Greater Bendigo, which is the Bendigo Croquet and Lawn Bowls redevelopment. So 3 projects within our region, which is a fantastic outcome, and then a number of projects then more broadly spread across the state, again being delivered by separate local government or DV representatives. But fantastic outcome and a really good opportunity to progress the sport and major event venues across Bendigo region. I'll hand back to you, Laws.
And now we'll pass over to Amanda.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, everybody. My name's Amanda and I'm from Development Victoria. And I'm just going to sort of speak through a little bit about DV and who we are as an organisation, and then a little bit about the Bendigo Stadium project. So DV, we're a Victorian Government development agency and we partner with all different parts of the Victorian Government. And in this case, we're partnering with Sports Recreation Victoria to deliver the Bendigo Stadium project. So as part of that, DV, we are a sort of property development arm and we really sort of focus on projects to do with urban renewal to achieve social and economic outcomes for the Victorian community. So some of the works that we do is we revitalise urban areas and unlock public land. We create important cultural and recreational facilities such as this, and hopefully we can build sort of diverse and affordable and sustainable communities. Might move to the next slide. So I'll talk a little bit about our portfolio and some of the projects that we have delivered. So the team that is presenting tonight from DV is part of the Civics Group. We also have a precincts and housing group within DV. In recent years, we've really sort of looked to increase our regional presence, and we've been working on the Ballarat Gov Hub. Right here in Bendigo, we've delivered Galkangu, so I think that's a really fantastic facility for the Bendigo region. And we've also recently completed the Geelong Arts Centre project. We're also currently delivering projects within the regions like the 12 Apostles Visitor Centre, Nile Bunyul, which is the Geelong Convention and Event Centre. So some really great regional sort of projects that we've been involved in. As sort of Luke mentioned just previously, you know, there are 16 projects in this program, and DV are really fortunate to be working on 8 of these projects across the state. So within Bendigo, we are delivering 2 of the 3 projects. We might move to the next slide, thanks. So our vision for this project is really to sort of design and build on the existing community sporting infrastructure that we have at the stadium. So, you know, it's a great opportunity to do some court expansion works here and to make some upgrades to the stadium. So we've been working sort of through the design process, working really closely with the City of Greater Bendigo and the Bendigo Stadium Limited, who really understand the community needs and who will be operating the facility as well once we've delivered this project. They've given us really great feedback into the design, and hopefully what we'll run through tonight, you'll be able to sort of see some amazing renders and sort of what we're proposing as part of this redevelopment. We've also worked with our design team to really sort of encourage specifying regional materials. So hopefully we'll see some really good examples of that in the project. We've also connected with Jara, and we're exploring opportunities to incorporate Dja Dja Wurrung culture, their stories and connection to country within these upgrade works. So we might move to the project objectives. So we have 4 key objectives for this project. It's really about improving the health of communities, particularly those that are disadvantaged, by creating accessible and inclusive opportunities. And Vicky will talk to you about some of the works that we're doing within the existing facility. We'll also look to improve the capacity of local councils and venue operators to hold more events. So the addition of a couple of new courts will give new opportunities for BSL in terms of their programming of the space. We'll look to provide a positive impact to the local economy. So that's really about sort of, you know, developing, you know, through all stages of this project, the planning, the building and the operations of the community sports infrastructure. And then finally, we'll sort of respond to the need to plan, build and operate community sport and active recreation infrastructure. And we're really looking at ways of making things as sustainable as possible. Vicky will go through some of our sustainability objectives of the project, and we're really looking at trying to increase sort of building that resilience into our infrastructure that we are delivering throughout the state, and particularly for this project. So I think I'll hand over now to Vicky, who's going to run through the project overview. Thanks, Vicky.
Thanks, Amanda, and hi to everyone. Okay, so I have the privilege of managing the delivery of the project, which is pretty exciting. So we've engaged with City Collective, who are our principal consultants. They are leading the team of consultants. We have many of them on this project. So we are working through the current design, finalising the design over the next few months. And some of the, obviously the scope of what we're delivering is for a new 2-court annex that'll include a foyer and amenities. It will also include some like refurbishments to existing infrastructure that will lead towards the centralised tournament office, which will also have some refurbishment works occurring. We'll be doing some works to the courts 9 and 10 existing courts. That will be some upgrades to the accessibility so that we can get access to both of those courts, which are currently unable to for DDA, etc., and as well as just doing some minor refurbishment works to areas such as the roof and painting, etc. We'll also be upgrading some of the main switchboard capacity. We'll also be installing solar panels, so there'll be some solar panels on the new roof. There will also be a backup generator that's included as part of the works there, and we'll be doing some works as well to the main entry and just making it accessible as well. Scope includes upgraded outdoor netball court lighting and also car park improvements, which will assist with car park layouts, flows, pedestrian pathways, as well as just improving the lighting in the car park as well. So we are looking to hopefully, and we believe we will be, boosting local jobs and businesses in the region, and we are looking at commencing works for construction in September of this year. Next slide. This is an infograph of the areas that we are working in. There's a lot that's happening at the stadium, as you can see. I think I've kind of gone through it in a bit of detail, so there's nothing there that I probably wouldn't be sharing that you wouldn't already be aware of. Yep. So from a sustainability perspective, we are working quite closely with the project team and the key stakeholders to be able to look at this project from a sustainable lens. There are best practice sustainable design strategies that are being implemented across the design. We are obviously complying with the National Construction Code. DV ourselves have got a sustainability implementation plan which articulates our sustainability objectives, performance measures, etc. as well. We've got ADP, who are our sustainability consultants, who are also finalising the ESD report, which is our environmental sustainability design report, which forms part of our documentation. And you can see there that there's quite a number of areas that we're implementing sustainability, from the solar panels and the generator. We're obviously considering materiality, the sort of sealants and carpets that were being used, as well as just ventilation in the areas, bicycle parking for transport, sustainability, waste recycling, so obviously providing recycle bins around the new areas as well, rainwater tanks to collect rainwater obviously from the roof and in and around areas, and stormwater drainage, and native vegetation for landscaped areas, some of the areas for sustainability. Next, local jobs first. Obviously, we're keen to support local businesses and workers, ranging from small to medium enterprises. We are keen to get involved with local Bendigo and regional suppliers, which they are the priority for this project. And of course, any interested suppliers can register through the ICN for any of those opportunities. And there's a barcode there, or QR code. Planning approval. So the Minister for Planning has considered this project under the Clause 5230 planning scheme. We are in the process of submitting our planning applications. There are several stages for submitting those documents to the Department of Transport and Planning, and we are on track for approval for mid-2025. Obviously, part of that process is for us to hold community information sessions, because we do need and want feedback from the community. So we have this session tonight, which is obviously our info online webinar. And then, of course, there is a drop-in session on Friday, the 14th of March from 4:30 in the afternoon. We do encourage feedback, and written submissions can also be made through the Engage Vic website. We're open until Thursday, the 3rd of April, and it is your opportunity to help us understand what you think of the project. Okay. Next, quick snapshot of the timeline. Obviously, we are finalising, or design development's been finalised. We are still working through some of that design while we are out to tender. For the head contractor, we will be announcing that head contractor in July, targeting works to commence on site in September and completion for late 2026. Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Vicky. And now it's time for the Q&A component of this session. So as mentioned, you have a couple of options for how you can ask a question. One will be to raise your hand using the button at the top of your screen. We will then unmute your microphone and you can ask the team a question directly. Alternatively, you can use the Q&A button at the top of your screen to type a question for the team, and then I will let them know when those questions are coming through. So I think I can already see a hand is up there. So we've got Evie is in charge of letting the questions trickle through. Evie, do you want to allow, I think we've got Fiona first. Do you want to allow Fiona's microphone to function? Just give us 1 second while we figure out the technology. And Fiona, you might need to unmute yourself as well now that Evie's done that for you.
There we go. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for this info session. I wasn't able to attend. I won't be able to attend Friday, so this was good to be able to have this option. I'm one of the residents that lives in the Inglis Street. Well, I live in Inglis Street, and the neighbours of Inglis and Saunders Street have already had quite a lot of communication with the stadium and Bendigo Council regarding some of our concerns with existing car parking issues. So, by the way, we absolutely love the stadium being in use, absolutely support functions, events, love seeing it in use, particularly after seeing it as a ghost town through COVID. So there's no issues in terms of the usage of the stadium. We live here in the neighbourhood, we love it. But there are some major safety issues which we have raised with the stadium, and given, as you mentioned before, that the stadium are very concerned with community needs, I'm sure they may have already passed on some of our concerns, and also some of the measures they've already taken to try to improve the safety issues, particularly through major events. But also Wednesdays and Fridays are particularly heavily used by netballers and basketballers. So my question, I guess, is what impact will this have on existing car parking, and are there any plans to actually improve the safety to your patrons, their supporters, families and so forth, and local residents when big events are on?
Amanda, is this a question for you or one for Vicky?
I think we could. So yeah, I might start off, and I might throw to Luke from because I know he's been sort of having a lot of discussions with BSL and the city in regards to this. So Fiona, we are aware that there are those concerns. The project is looking at sort of the car parking numbers, etc. We're not going to be impacting or reducing any numbers. If anything, we'll sort of be able to increase some of those numbers. But in terms of sort of from an operational perspective, I think, there's definitely a lot of conversations happening with BSL and council in terms of how they're going to sort of operate the site with increased capacity. But Luke, do you want to add to what I've just said?
Certainly. Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. And I think there's certainly no shying away from the implications of particular major events days, Fiona, and you above all people would recognise those challenges. But as you mentioned also on Wednesday and Friday, where there's traffic control in place, and that's not a long-term strategy that council or the state are looking to try and continue. So there is some active engagement at the moment with the city around active transport and also improved traffic management around the site. It sits separate to this project. This project's specific to the internal elements or issues associated with the delivery of the state's commitment. But we are very cognizant that we can't just deliver additional infrastructure on this site and not have more of a holistic view around safe traffic movement. But what I would say to you is that is a longer term discussion with the city, Department of Transport and Planning, and other stakeholders, including Vic Roads. And that's something we'll look to continue to do. And no doubt residents will continue to be engaged with regards to that over the course of the delivery of this project, which of course is the end of 2026. So there is some time to draw on a longer term plan within that space. So there's not an immediate solution, unfortunately, Fiona, but your concerns have been well heard both by the state and by council and BSL. And there is some strategic thinking around how that can be better resolved longer term.
Oh, thanks for that, Luke and Amanda. And obviously a number of the residents no doubt will put something in writing as part of our feedback and our concerns. And I would like to say that the stadium has addressed some of our concerns and has understood that level of safety. But I guess my urgency in making sure that this is kept on the agenda is that whilst all this change and restructure and all that happens, it's probably going to complicate the car parking even more. So please don't just leave it till the end of 2026 to go, okay, now that we've improved the stadium, let's now look at the car parking, because it's already a problem. So, and the problem is around patrons' use of the car park and their ability to be able to park in terrible locations, making it impossible to see traffic coming. This is an OD route, the English Street. It is a truck route. There on the opposite side of the stadium road, there is no channel and curbing. There are cars parked everywhere along the road, whether in no standing places or not, because the council actually won't come outside of council hours to book anyone who's parking incorrectly. Saunders Street is a dirt road with deep channels either side, and it's used. And so currently there's a problem. When there's more work going on, it'll be a greater problem, and we will express it obviously in writing. But we do appreciate Red Energy Arena for already trying to respond. But as you say, it involves a whole heap of stakeholders, and all of them, in our experience so far, have been blaming everyone else and telling them it's their problem, including Highway Patrol, who say, what's the point of coming to book anyone, because they're all going to park everywhere they feel like anyway. So there is going to be a major accident at some stage, and we're terrified of it.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you very much for that, Fiona. As I mentioned, it is certainly something that's being considered by those key partners as part of this project, and we'll continue to update residents as we progress through the project and further engagements with those key stakeholders that I mentioned, because it's not an issue now because of this development. It may certainly be somewhat exacerbated, but it's an existing issue that needs to be resolved in a longer term strategy, and that's what Council's looking at. So thank you for that.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Luke, and thanks, Fiona. I think our next question is from Ian. If we want to, you might need to, once Evie has unmuted your microphone, you might need to unmute. There we go.
Yeah, my name's actually Therese. I'm here with Ian.
Oh, sorry.
I suppose that's okay. I suppose I had two questions. One, it was certainly relating to the car parking, particularly more, you know, how it's going to be managed through major events while car parks are obviously taken to build the new facility. Because similar to the previous lady, car parking there is shocking at the best of times anyway. Give a major event, given that during the construction time there's going to be, well, certainly the Bendigo basketball tournament, which brings thousands of people to town. So if you take away car parks, yeah, where are they going to go? And my second question is just related to, you talked about in the new area building a new foyer area. So does that mean that that will be creating a new entrance to the stadium, or will people still enter through, I suppose, the main stadium doors at the moment that is there now?
I can perhaps jump into that one, just particularly given the extension of the car park. And I guess just to reiterate, and thank you very much for posing both of those questions, Teresa. Just to be clear, that the traffic management with regards to this project has been identified by DV internally. So how we're going to have things like access to the loading dock, bus movements, heavy vehicles, safety of pedestrians, that has been resolved. It's the broader implications of the investment by the state that needs further work. So that's around the parking on the roads and the traffic management and safety of vehicle movement along English Street. That's something that certainly needs further work. And as I responded to Fiona, that's something that will continue to be engaged and updated for residents around that area as it progresses with the city and those key stakeholders. With regards to the foyer question, yes, that's correct. There will be a second entry to support additional use of both of those two courts, but also a more seamless entry pathway into the central core of the facility where the F&B courts 4 and 5 and courts 6 and 7 are. So really trying to make sure that we consolidate the movements within that zone so that we're trying to make it more simplistic for users of the centre.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks.
Do we have any more questions? I'll just double check that we haven't had any come through. Oh, I think, is that your hand up again, Therese?
Wasn't there?
No, it's not Therese, it's Ian this time. So just tagging on to some of the comments. Thanks for the opportunity to have a discussion. And I know you've said that you've been consulting with a lot of organisations and/or people through the development of the plan. Does that does that consultation include the users of the stadium? So I mean particularly the Bendigo Basketball Association, etc. And how are they liaising with Bendigo Stadium Limited?
That'll be me again, Laws, if that's all right. Sorry. So that's one of the key roles of Sport and Recreation Victoria to support those coordinations. And what we have been doing is continually engaging with the user groups through the user group committee, which meets roughly about every 2 months. So we've kept them up to date with some of the design evolution and also some of the program that's been identified for this. We've been in regular consultation with BSL across both the delivery of the Commonwealth Games in the first phase and then into the delivery of the regional sports infrastructure package, and continually met with the master plan committee on monthly basis to get their feedback, and then also through to the board as the site manager to ensure that they're comfortable and in agreement with the design and the infrastructure being provisioned, as they'll have maintenance and management responsibilities of it once constructed. So it has been a very thorough engagement process implemented by both Sport and Recreation Victoria and Development Victoria through the design working group and the program working group that both BSL are involved with.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, look, the background of the question was, and I do have some history with the with both the stadium and with basketball, and I reflect on the development for the new stadium and the potentially lack of consultation with the main users, and particularly the Basketball Association, around what was essentially a facility to cater for basketball. And history will indicate that there are a number of oversights that went on with the new development when it occurred, that the Basketball Association particularly had some keen ideas and input in relation to that, but were precluded from that consultation. So if you're onto it, you're managing it, that's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Ian. And we actually meet with the user group committee tomorrow night to have that engagement more formally, very similar to what you have all seen tonight, but perhaps a bit more informal discussion around some of the renders and how it looks from their usability, things around shadowing and that sort of things, where it starts to become really important for those users. So I appreciate that, Ian. It's a very good point.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, we are a few minutes over now, so I will just put one last call out for any final questions before we wrap things up. Ian's hand is still up, but I think that is just a relic of past questions. So give it another few seconds. Not seeing any hands, and I'm not seeing anything come through on the Q&A. So we might wrap things up now. Thank you so much to everyone for coming. I think that this session and also Friday night session are a really important opportunity for us to be able to connect with the community, tell you what we're planning, and to give you the opportunity as well to ask us questions and let us know what you think. As mentioned, there's the Engage Victoria consultation, which is open on engage.vic.gov.au. You can head there and you can have your say on the project if you would like to share your feedback in writing. Anyone who would like to join us as well on Friday night is more than welcome. That will be from 4:30 till 6 p.m. at Bendigo Stadium. And we will be sharing, I think, on Engage Vic, there is already a copy of this slide deck, and there is a fact sheet as well. And we will be making our FAQs and the recording from this session live at some point over the next week as well. So if you do want to come back and have another listen or have a little bit more of a deep dive into some of those FAQs, then you've got that opportunity in the future as well. Thank you again, and we will wrap things up now. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Laws. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Bye.